Testing. All right. Well, maybe I shouldn't bother with headphones at all. Do I sound okay? Can people hear me? Am I too loud? Am I too quiet? I don't know. And now I just have to wait 10 minutes for somebody to reply. Such a slow process. Hi, how's it going? Predacon Waspinator. You can hear me all right? Good. I was trying to monitor on headphones and it was giving me a slight delay, and I can't talk when I hear my voice coming back after a slight delay. How's it going, Ilmatic Prime? I'm sorry, the video is not terribly interesting. I can make them dance for you. I was going to discuss MP-39, MP-42. There's things that come up that maybe don't come across in a stop motion video. A few details that it's easier to kind of explain it and show it. I guess I'll start transforming it, and if anyone finds that interesting, then I guess people will stick around. I need better light next time. This is always an interesting joint if we're going to start with the arms. It's a folding joint like that, but it also slides into lock. So now it's slid in, and now it's slid out. In. But that allows it to collapse. And the hand is kind of interesting too, because you know they had this whole, like it's this way, and then it unfolds, a little double hinge there, and then the hand folds in, and then this actually attaches it slightly, like at the same location, but now it's folded down instead of folded this way. I always thought that was kind of a cool. Thank you, Olmatic Prime. So I'm just going to do the same thing with this arm. Sometimes it doesn't like to pop out. Like this Sunstreaker's nice and loose, but the cordon I borrowed was a little tight, and you have to kind of push up on that. But no big deal. The next thing is to get these things rotated around 180 degrees. They actually lay at a different angle. So you can see here, this one now lays at a steep angle, and this one still just kind of sticks straight up. So we'll do the same thing over here. Now it lays down. You know what? The new Unicron is too expensive for me. I kind of balked it. You know, I was like, should I buy the MP-44 Takara Prime? And yes, I am going to do that, because I'm always impressed with Takara's engineering for like the Masterpiece line. And, you know, prime example is just a great design. But Prime, it's like worth it, especially since I was able to discover the magic that is Amazon Prime or Amazon Japan pre-orders, where you can get things for a lot cheaper than the retail price you get from the importers. So I'm gonna get that Prime for like $270, which is pretty good, but still pretty steep. But that Unicron, $575, and you're talking about the siege engineering is decent. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a lot better than some of their previous engineering for mainline. But it's just a very big siege figure, and I'm always curious if they take a sphere like that, and you know they're obviously kind of like stacking up the sphere plates. I'd love to see it, but I'm not going to spend money on it. Jacko says hamburger. That's helpful. Absolutely adores my animations. Well, I appreciate that. All I need is more subs like you. Hey, well, we get their arms put away. I really need to turn up the exposure on this. I'm sorry, I'm still learning. No, that's audio. Video capture device. Configure. Drag it all the way over from the other screen. Camera control. Exposure. That's a little brighter. That's enough, yeah. Sorry, I just didn't want it to be so dark. This figure has blacks on it. In my main shooting studio, I have a lot more lights. I might have to get more lights for this scenario. Your Peru Kills transformation was great. How do you compare his transformation to Takara Masterpiece transformations? You know what, I gotta tell you, Peru Kill is maybe just the best, like the most clean transformation I've ever seen. Like, Takara does a really great job of turning things inside out, which of course Peru Kill is doing too. Takara has a tendency to take all the extra stuff that they don't know what to do with and put it in a backpack, which is fine. Like, you don't see the backpack from the front. The figure looks really clean from the front. They try to do something with the backpack, so in his case you've got these sort of fake intake nozzles. And but Peru Kill, it might be my favorite one. Close second would be the Challenger figure from Unique Toys. I think Unique Toys design team is doing a really good job. Takara also like DX9 for their designs. Make Toys has good designs, and I don't tend to be a fan of Fans Toys' approach to the transformation engineering. It's a little ad hoc. They want to move apart, so they put a bunch of little linkages together, you know. And they're like, it's not a parts former now. It's connected by these linkages. I have just no use for that. I would say overall, though, that Takara has the most clever sort of ideas going on with their transformations. It's hard to compare Unique Toys. Like, they had one huge home run with Peru Kill, another home run with Challenger. Of course, they did their their Octane, the tanker truck, airplane, Decepticon. We're just going to flip this up. This is what I'm doing while I'm waiting for questions or anything. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to lay the little windshields flat. I know that's just parked. Unfortunately, you got to park things once in a while with these. So we're going to flip down this little knob, and on the other side as well. And then we can lower his head. I found Corden with the wider head. It was actually kind of hard to lower it with these in place. So in that video, you notice I have these kind of parked out here because the way Corden's head is just a lot wider. So this guy, it just goes straight in, but you can just lift these up. But it's almost like Takara has, like, this is what they can transform into the cell animation faithful robot, and then all the other stuff that has to go away to get to this point ends up in the backpack. It looks a lot like what they're doing with Prime. Yeah, I'm going to be getting Lahir whenever he's released. Takara movie best lockdown? Is that the Japanese line for studio series? And in like 20 minutes, I'll see your answer. I'm just going to transform this until I see something new. Is Road Rage is the Trax repaint. People beat up on that Trax mold, but I think it's a decent mold. It has some clever ideas, and it does the thing where it turns into a plane, which is nice. All right. Ready to discuss the backup. I can't stop and look at the guy's name right now, but someone raised the very salient point on the Corden video that these are supposed to be the other way around. Now, I just find them tidier folded up this way. But it is true, if I separate these and flip them around, like that, it's a lot easier to slide them under the windshield that way. And, you know, presumably causes less stress on the parts. But I just don't like the way it hangs down. Now, I'll admit, I didn't realize that they were supposed to go the other way, because I guess I just never paid close attention to the directions. But all that being said, I'm going to continue doing it the wrong way, because these are longer in this direction from the hinge and shorter in this direction. And if you turn it around the other way, and first of all, it's a little cleaner in the transformation, because all you have to do is rotate them forward. You know, you just rotate them forward like this. And then you don't have to turn them all the way back around. But, you know, you can get this over the windshield with minimal parts rubbing, and I find it's a lot cleaner that way. They don't stick down as far. Yeah, you should definitely get Peru Kill. I know there's a third-party company that has an oversized Peru Kill. I'm pretty sure that came out, or it was a cheaper version of Peru Kill. I'm all for, you know, paying the original designers like Unique Toys for their design work. But, you know, sometimes it's just too expensive for people. You know, if someone doesn't snap up Peru Kill immediately and they wait for the KO, chances are they were never going to spend money on Peru Kill. They're going to spend it on the KO anyway. I'm cutting out for a second. Sorry, dinner was served just as I started this, and I didn't want to just abandon y'all. So I'm muting once in a while to eat. Alright, so I'm just going to pop the backpack. Yeah, there's no... I mean, Peru Kill is not just the best lockdown you could get. It's just one of the more awesome transformers you can get. It doesn't pose as well because it doesn't have the ankle rockers like you would want. Neither does Challenger. It's not a big priority for Unique Toys, apparently. But the way it transforms, if you like that whole sort of magic trick transformation, then Peru Kill is very satisfying in that regard. So I thought this was kind of cool, like the way this eats the windshield. Whether you put them around the right way or put them wrong like me. Pretty clever idea. And then these just unfold. And then you can tuck them away. I don't know if this translates on a live stream. We're going to unfold this. Turn it around 180 degrees on that hinge there. And then we can smash it up. So now those fake cowls are underneath. So shiny. This can be a little tricky to lock down. Well, we have to fix these first. Fix this and this. Then we're going to do it on the other side. And then we're going to fold these. You can hyperextend these, and you actually should when you're trying to like sneak it in vehicle mode from one, you know, with the afterburners and not with the intakes or whatever. But they should just be 90 degrees down, not that. Not that. Just 90 degrees. Hunt for the Decepticon leader Starscream. I'm trying to remember. Oh, is that the leader Starscream? Yeah, I did a video of that way back in the day. It's a clever design. Those old leader figures before all the toys got hollow and cheap. Those old leader figures were great. This can be a little tricky to get into place, but generally you're just trying to push on this. And it kind of clicks down there. So it kind of pops. Because this part's a different part, but you're trying to get this part locked down. Like over here, it's not locked down yet. And then I push on the back and the top. And now it's locked down. The Studio Series is very good. They've got some of their better designers on that. And Siege is decent. I'm collecting it, but you know, Cyberverse was like the first thing I was ever like, no, I'm not getting this at all. I'm not wasting my money on Cyberverse. So invert this guy. There's some tricks to getting clearance for the windshield. Yeah, that leader op was great. Great figure. Studio Series Jolt. I wish they would. Yeah. They've had 2 Jolt molds that I know of. There was like the first one from when he came out in the movie, and then a little while later they did him again, even though he really wasn't in that movie. And the second Jolt mold, I don't know, the first one had some clever ideas, but it was kludgy as shit. And the second one was decent. But yeah, Jolt could stand to be reworked. Cyberverse is baby food. Yeah, I just that cracked my limit, especially when I would look at the Cyberverse, what looks like Legend class figures, like the little guys, and you look at them and you're like, oh my god, like this has a play feature, like it spins around or whatever, but it doesn't actually transform, unless I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't look like they actually transform completely into vehicle mode. I have no use for that. That's not a transformer. Yeah, Studio Series Jolt would be really cool. I feel like I skipped over this, but this just rotates around. Easy. But there's a few things we want to do to get clearance for this windshield so that this doesn't have to hit. See? So what I'm going to do is we'll bring the legs straight out to the side. Grab this. Just grabbing it right there. Flip that up. And then I can fold this. See if I can get the angle right here. I can fold this down well out of the way. And while I'm at it, I can go ahead and flip these around. It's just these cowls that go around. The hips themselves don't move at all. So we're just moving this around. This one's actually kind of nice and loose, so it's easy to show this one. That just flips around. Now we got the legs parked. There's a bit of parking. And now, with this bent all the way down, now when we put the windshield down, we've got just enough clearance to flip that down and miss the windshield. Now we can settle the windshield out of the way. And now we can settle the hips back. See if I can get the angle good. push this hook up. We can push this flap up. And now we're ready to move on to the terribly clever legs. Yeah, Corden was cool. It was nice to handle him, and he had the flashing lights on top, so that was kind of a different, like an extra little transformation step. But I'm just getting this thing out of the way. This is like the cowl of the car, the back behind the door. And unfortunately, it helps just to park it. But that way you can get a grip on this piece, because it's got a tight little joint. We're going to fold that completely over. And then we fold this up. And I've always wanted to explain my approach to the door, so let me just get this wheel out of the way first. It's on a little zigzag hinge. Full focus on it. So if I pull up a little bit, you'll see now it's unfolded, but there's like a little diagonal piece of plastic that's running between those two hinges. You have to kind of push that inward. Now you can close the heel in. And it helps just to pop this open and lift it up and leave it open. Getting the doors out without popping the windshield, the rear view mirrors off. So you open the door as much as you can, which is why it helps to have the foot out of the way. I really need better light. That's there. Now what I find I need to do is put my finger on, you can see the rear view mirror there, I hope. So there's the rear view mirror. And I like to put my finger right on where the rear view mirror links to a pin, because it'll pop off. But then you keep your finger on that and you just pull the door straight back. And if you don't keep your finger on it, sometimes it'll just pop off. And that can be very sad. It also sometimes helps to kind of push on the mirror a little bit as you flip up the window. But now the window's up. And I kind of discovered with Corden that I can just kind of build the whole side of the car and then put it all down at once instead of what I did with this Sunstreaker at the time. So I'm just going to peek at some comments while I fiddle with the other half of this. Will I be getting MPB version 2? Yes. Yeah, I am planning on getting him and Black Arachnia and Hound. I tend to get all the Takara releases, so you can probably assume that I'm going to get the Takaras. I think the only one I'm not getting that's vaguely Takara is the MPM-8 Megatron. For me, that's not, it doesn't transform much. It doesn't transform much, and it doesn't transform into much. It turns into like a weird alien. I never cared about the design one way or the other. So I'm not going to spend full price on that. I'll buy it on sale one day. Now, we're ready. Usually these hip joints have to go a notch just so that they fold down in the right vector, the right direction. But these can just go right here. They slip under the windshield here. It's kind of cool they're doing Beast Wars. I say this on every forum where this comes up, but God, I want an MP rail racer. Is it so hard? Just the three trains that go together and the look of the rail racer design. But imagine that being able to like I don't know, do little things like stand upright by itself, unsupported. Because the Armada Rail Racer was pretty terrible about that. And not Armada, RID 2000, 2001 or whatever. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. Nice too. There's like this long delay, so it could probably help if you just said what you were commenting on, whatever it was I said. But maybe it's because that I'm getting them, so I'll be getting the Dakaras. I guess that's nice. Maybe that's what you mean. Oh, okay, so you're commenting on the subject of the video. Cool. I suppose we may as well go in both directions. I can't put this back on the shelf in car mode. That would be sacrilege. This is a nice feature, though. Those of you who don't have it, you want the little Lamborghini headlights to come up. And it's really actually very easy to do because there's just this pusher. It's just a chunk of plastic that's kind of caught in a rail, and it pushes up on. So I'm just gonna put my thumb on. I'm gonna put my thumb on that. I'm gonna push it up. So let's watch. Let's watch together what happens. And then it's easy to get it the rest way open. So nice. It's too close for the camera. I think it's great that these have. It has headlights and they're just so easy to pop up. So cool. I suppose I should cover getting the engine flipped around. You have to open the doors. And you have to open these side cowls out. And you have to push the rear spoiler back. It's not sticking out. So now we have enough clearance to do the flip around here. So you bring this up, and you try to bring it up as straight as possible because the shiny nozzles will get caught. So you can't just flip the whole thing up and then rotate it. You have to kind of like keep it level the whole time until you get to that position. And then you hyperextend these. I mentioned that earlier. So now they're hyperextended, and they'll clear the rear spoiler when you flip it over. And then you flatten out these intake panels. Just flatten them a little bit. And then you can lay this back down where it was. Close the side panels, close the doors. Push the spoiler back up. And for good measure, we can flip out the little covers. I'll do this one slower. It flips out and then folds over. It's funny how they're reproducing, like this element and this element are kind of reproducing the fact that the original Sunstreaker, that was a functional hinge that flipped over. So for some reason they slavishly reproduced the elements that look like a hinge. I tell you what, the Make Toys downbeat is a almost perfect MP Jazz. I love that thing. So, I mean, I'd love to see what Takara would do with a Jazz figure, but Make Toys is good enough. Forgot to flip those down. They flip down. Now you know. But Make Toys Jazz is really good. Get all this stuff to get out of the way first. Because it's easier to turn it into a robot if you start with the Lamborghini itself, not the fancy chromed up intake Lamborghini. When I go back this direction, I have to flip these vertical just slightly, and then I can lower the whole thing down and close these things and close the doors. And then you remember you forgot to do these. All right. So now we're back to the regular car. It's time to go to the robot. I do not play Borderlands. I think my kid plays Borderlands. He's like, I want to get Borderlands 3. I'm like, well, you better save your money. So we're going to flip this out. Flip the heel out. Fold this down a little. And shift that little arm forward. So now it's running in a zigzag again. And then we flip this down. This light hates me. I can't get it far enough in front. I need a light from the camera's point of view. Great. Alright. Stupid camera. Don't bump the camera. Which I always have to tell myself when I'm shooting. Don't bump the camera. Putting the camera back is the hardest part. So we open the door. We slide the door back. We fold the thingamajig over. Just for good measure, we can keep our finger on there. But the little rear view mirror actually goes right there. So when you slide it in, you have to put it all the way forward, and then it'll, when you close it, the rear view mirror will hide inside that little hole there. Then we can flip this down and over. Flip the leg down and flip over the thingamajig. Flip this up and over. Now we got a leg. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, he's talking about Stinger. I guess. I mean, we got Lahir coming out, which is from that movie line, so maybe someone will do a Stinger. I wish I could get far enough from the camera for it to autofocus. Yeah, I want you to focus on that. And this can just lift out without touching. Over. And this can flip down. Spread these out a little bit. And flip the legs up. And now we got legs. You know, I can't remember the company, but someone did the Dino Mirage, some people called him, but he was that red car from the third movie? I forget who did that. Same people did that overly complicated version of what Unique Toys did with Challenger. Dino. But he was a Ferrari. That would have been a cool third-party figure. But nobody's allowed to make any more third-party figures until they make me a rail racer. Then they can go about their business. Just need a rail racer. Popping this off can be tricky. So you're trying to get that clip in there to pop. Like right now it was loose. But you want to pop it out. And to do that, it would have to go up. You have to go this way. And it's hard to do that. But you can just kind of squeeze this so it stays together. And then you can pop it. You do it on both sides. Now you're ready to just flip this up. And we can do some dressing with the pieces here. Flip these up. This flips out of the way in the process. Flip the hinges down. And then flip these down. You have to forgive me, I am not actually used to having my hands in the shot. It's the whole reason I started doing the stop motion, because I couldn't stand how reviewers would show off the transformations of the figures. You know, the reviewers would be like, alright, now, this next thing is really important. It's critical that you take this piece here and position it just like, oh, well, you already saw it. I'm not going to reshoot it. You know what I mean. Frickin' reviewers. Never handled a third party. That's interesting. If you're going to get one, get Peru Kill. I mean, it'll distort your view of third party a little bit, because you'll be like, oh my god, all third parties like this. And it's not really true, but Peru Kill is great. Right. Once again, I'm going to just do this wrong, because I think it gets them out of the way better. Just going to do it wrong. But if you stick this almost straight out, so you see that arm, then this can come down. It just takes the merest bit of a walk to get them past the lumps on the windshield, and then you're gold. It doesn't bind otherwise, and again, it puts them higher up instead of hanging down real low. They stick up, and they're out of the way. Fans Project Highbrow. Forgot to put the head up. There's the head. Now we have double amputee side swipe, or Sunstreaker. I'm waiting for this be like. Also, MGO Ball Matrix Optobotomist be like. Alright, now we're going to transfer the arm. Now it's extremely important that this piece here gets set up just like, you just have to pull it like this. Oh, well, it's already over. But you know what I meant. I was like, how can we do transformations without hands in the way? And without inadvertently pushing it off the top of the screen without realizing you did it. Extend that, compress that joint. And then we can close this up. these around. That, see, I put it off the top of the screen. These around. All right, well, I've sort of been streaming for an hour here. Let's do our sign-offs. I transformed them to discuss some of the points. Got my hands real sweaty inside these gloves. Interacted with you, my 5 faithful fans. Alien Attack Farage, thank you. Yeah, he was just a little too small. I would have liked him to be bigger. Well, what I want to do is every Wednesday I want to live stream and maybe discuss like the figure that I just did or any other important figure that's come up or start handling requests or whatever. So probably expect a live stream every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, somewhere around there. And I'll be live streaming that, discussing the engineering, how they transform, tricks like keeping the mirrors from popping off the Sunstreaker. Yeah, so hopefully you guys catch up with me next week. Probably be discussing what is it called? TFC G.I. Joe truck guy. I've got to figure out how to make things float in midair. Give me a second, I'll show you something. I'll be right back. So I went to the hardware store because that TFC truck thing is a parts former. It has parts that just come off and then get reassembled in a different place. And I'm like, how am I going to do a parts former? And so what I came up with at the hardware store was I started with, this is a magnetic get something out of somewhere thing. So it's an antenna. And then I screwed it onto a series of washers. And then I glued some additional washers so it would have a flat bottom. And then I glued this big bolt on there so that it would be heavy. You know, I'll just use sticky tack to keep it from sliding around on the plinth. But that way, I can have a piece, you know, that's here. And it can lower if I need it to. It'll just be glued onto the back of this. And then I can move it as I need to. And then I'll just edit out the stick. What do you think? It's not going to focus on it. There it is. So that's my crazy levitation stick. And in 15 minutes, someone will react to that. Maybe I need to do low latency. Supreme Tactical Commander by TFC. I have the, thanks to Factor 1, I have on loan the Jungle Camo version of that figure. So that's what you can expect on Sunday, is that figure. My hand is free. So sweaty.